Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Pod Squadron, the show where we talk about the full scope of Star Wars experience, from the movies, TV shows, animation, games, comics, books, and themed experiences, and merchandise. Also, we want to see your art and inspiration from that galaxy far, far away. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian Season 2. We'll do a little recap and reaction. We'll also dig into the Star Wars The High Republic, a little preview of that, and a little bit of a taste of things to come. But before we get too deep into that, follow us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Find us on YouTube, like and subscribe, hit the bell icon so you know when we have new content. Of course, my name is Andy Lowe. I am the Chinese Pirate. I'm a director, storyteller, puppeteer, performer, and fight choreographer. And, of course, we have TRACY.
Hi, I'm TRACY, also known as Hot Nerd Girl. And did you do your social medias? I wasn't paying attention.
You may. I mean, it's funny. I mean,
no, it's fine. I'm TRACY. Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
And we also have LEXI.
Hey, everyone. I'm LEXI, performing artist, aerialist, and event designer. Not really in the events anymore, though, so I should probably take that one off, huh? Well, let's find something else. We'll find something else to put on their next episode. Come back to find out what I am.
I mean, events will
that's
come
what
back.
we said. I'm a writer.
Oh, yes.
Blogger
Writer.
and occasional cosplayer. That's me.
We do stuff. Sometimes we do stuff.
Sometimes we do stuff.
Yes. But for now, we all sit on our couch and binge television. But
Work the farm tour.
I've been reading. I've been reading
yourself.
Well, before we get too deep into stuff, just wanted to say that, as you can see, we are on a new home. We are now part of the Geekish network here on Twitch.tv. So clearly you have found that link now. That's how you're here. Please make sure you do share us and share all of our channels and share the show if you enjoyed it. Also, the Geekish network is a rebrand of the old Pen Geekery network, or the Pen Geekery show, which has expanded into a network. So we encourage you to kind of check out the schedule here on Twitch.tv and look at all the upcoming shows coming up, because there is a different program almost every day of the week. And it's a lot of great content about a lot of different things, a lot of different television, a lot of different movies, pop culture, comics, and other great content that you love and that we love and love talking about with you. What else is happening? We've got a lot of stuff here in the Star Wars universe, but what's exciting you? Let's start with LEXI.
Oh, we're starting with me. Fantastic. I.
Uh-oh.
No, I.
Oh, no. Lexi's taking over for Benja's role.
Yes.
I'm taking over today. My internet is
no.
And I was like, "Is that me?" Oh, that was my name. All right. So I just started reading all the new High Republic books that have been coming out, starting with Light of the Jedi.
Keep going.
Can we hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yes. All right. So I started with Light of the Jedi, Charles Soule. If anybody is familiar with his other work, he's done a lot more comics in the past. Death of Wolverine, Darth Vader among them. I haven't really had a chance to check out that aspect of his work, but I'm really glad that I got to check out Light of the Jedi. It was a really good introduction to Star Wars novels. I'm a bit of a late bloomer when it comes to Star Wars novels, which is weird because I was in the library nonstop as a kid, so I don't know how I didn't find my way to them, but I like more for me now, I guess. So let me see. I have so great. And because I
Oh no.
I'm like, I like highlighting the text and I like the pages. So, oh no. Did I freeze?
Yes.
But you're back now.
Where did we lose me?
We got you when you heard your hand in the air.
I just got Kindle because I really like having books in my hands. But with all the books that I'm going to be reading, it kind of doesn't make sense for me to wait on the post office to deliver them. But I am really loving how much I can just pull up reference notes and look at all of the things I said.
Ruh-roh.
So I really love all the new.
Well, we'll definitely get into more of this because we are going to talk a little bit more about the High Republic later in the show, and we are going to invite you to join us because Lexi's been kind of already got a head start on us. I admit I couldn't wait, and I got a head start on Light of the Jedi myself, but we are going to invite you to read along with us, and we'll be talking and reading about some of the new books and stuff with you, hopefully. How about you, Tracy? Anything out there in the Star Wars universe that piques your fancy?
Oh gosh, well, I'm there's so many new shows coming out that I'm so excited about. I feel like I was so skeptical. Andy, you know this. I was so skeptical about Disney Plus when it was first announced, and I was just so annoyed that there was another monthly fee streaming service to have to dive into, and I was not expecting it to become this sort of hub of all these amazing Star Wars and Marvel shows that it is turning out to be. And now it's like, well, now I'm stuck. I have to watch. But so that's probably what I'm most excited about. I know they just started filming the Obi-Wan TV show, which I think we're going to talk about in a little bit, which I'm really excited about.
We can talk about that now, actually.
Okay. So they've just started filming.
I'd love to hear about it. I don't know anything about the Obi-Wan stuff because I've been so focused on the book. So yes, please, let's talk about it.
I know, and I haven't gotten into the book yet. So we need to, at some point, trade places. So
Maybe let's stop freezing long enough.
Aww. So they've just started filming in Little Marlow, Buckinghamshire. And it's this little dinky town in England, and apparently not everybody's super thrilled with having all of these Hollywood people taking over their town. But what they've kind of done is they've got this little piece of land here. It looks like it's right next to a river or something.
Yeah,
and if you look,
it's an old quarry actually, which makes sense if you need a big,
like a rock quarry, right?
Yeah. And
if you look at the drone's eye view, it looks like Darth Vader's helmet. This little town that they have built. It's got the same bell shape, and it's got this little triangular building where his mouth would be. And we'll post it on the Insta. I'm looking at it right now, and it's unmistakable that it's Darth Vader's head. So we'll post it on the Instagram page so that you guys can see it if you haven't seen it. But it's so. I don't know. It's exciting. I feel bad for the townspeople who are upset about it, but I feel like they need to get over it because now they're going to have their very own Hobbiton where people will come and spend money there.
That's true. Well, I mean, that's the thing, right?
So
I mean, if they're building a Tatooine location, like they could be filming there for the next 3 or 4 years. Tatooine seems to be the plan.
That maybe what the village is so upset about. Like, the people are probably out there because they don't want a lot of traffic. And now they're like, great. Now we got a bunch of traffic.
Speaking of a lot of traffic.
So, wait, Paul wants to know if this is how we find out how Obi-Wan becomes Old Ben. I would think so, right? Because it takes place in that time between.
So what little we know about the Obi-Wan series, it's about 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. We know that Hayden Christensen is set to star as Darth Vader. There has been no mention of whether or not James Earl Jones will also still voice Darth Vader, but presumably so. And the quote that shook the Star Wars world from Kathleen Kennedy was that it will be the rematch of the century, which implies a fight. So we'll see how they fit that in. But so my little bit of a thing that has been exciting me in the Star Wars world. So as many of you know, I am a multifaceted geek of all trades, and actually, I would say one of the realms of geekdom that I am most. I wouldn't even call it geekdom. I would just call it straight up a realm of storytelling that I am most engaged and fascinated by is immersive storytelling, particularly theme park design. And of course, theme parks are closed right now. Disneyland has had a very long time. In fact, this is the longest that Disneyland has been closed. That is almost a year now. It's never been like this. But as a concession, they have opened up the downtown Disney, the kind of outdoor mall section for shopping and dining. And they're taking advantage of a space that was shut down before the pandemic, which was the old Rainforest Cafe. And if you were think of it, Rainforest Cafe, it's already kind of themed to look like an old like jungle temple somewhere in South America, right? Which actually serves as a really good basis for like a Yavin style rebel base.
They're leaving a bunch of the decorations in there?
Oh, the building is still up. So all they're doing is they're redressing the facade. So they've added camouflage nets and satellite dishes and computer panels. They've parked Ray's speeder out front. And presumably they're doing some minor theming on the interior as well, and turning that restaurant into a merchandise location so that they can continue to sell all the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge stuff.
Question: Will there still be thunder and lightning storms, and can I still get a lava drink that will smoke when it comes to me, and have sparklers on it?
If I had my druthers, like if I were on that Imagineering team, I would definitely want to take advantage of that kitchen, because they do have like outdoor patios upstairs, right? I mean, and you could still do outdoor dining. You could still have a Ronto wrap, and still bring out some of the themed drinks or whatever. But for now, they've only announced a merchandise location. So,
and that the Rainforest Cafe was at the very end of that area. So, is there a little bit of room for it to grow?
Well, I don't think it's going to expand for now. I think this is a temporary workaround that could become a long-term temporary workaround. The original plan for all of that area, which was the AMC Theater, the ESPN Zone, and the Rainforest Cafe, was that it was going to get turned into the location of a new hotel expansion. Those plans got scrapped, though.
That's what it was. Is that where the Earl of Sandwich was, too? And they closed that, but then they reopened it?
Yes, and your old sandwich is back open again. So
being in a Disney group with you has its advantages.
There you go. But I
wouldn't find out otherwise.
Oh, we lost you, Lexi.
Oh, problems persist.
Yeah, I'm hearing you guys when you say you lose me, but then it's freezing in between that.
Oh,
no. Well, okay. We'll struggle through that. But without further ado, let's kind of get into the meat of the show here. So we are going to start talking about our Mandalorian Season 2 Roundup. Let's just jump right in. We're going to assume that everyone has watched Mandalorian Season 2, that you know all the spoilers, you know all the things, and let's just kind of dive in. And
you haven't watched it yet. Too bad. Snooze. Yeah. All right, I'm buckling up. Time for.
Oh! Wow. Okay, you've got the Yoda hat on. Very good.
Right, we're ready.
Well done. Oh, should I have the child?
For this guy.
Maybe get the child on. Tracy, do you want to head us off on some of your favorite moments of Season 2?
Oh, sure. And I'll admit that I spent about 30 seconds on my list. So I'm sure you guys are going to come up with some. I'm going to be like, oh, that was one of my favorites too. But there were so many good moments. So these are in no particular order. But I'll start with the cutest first, since we have all whipped out our Grogus. and that is Baby Yoda being like a roller coaster on the Razor Crest, post cookie, and then post cookie. So that's definitely one. And the next one is just seeing Ahsoka Tano's dual sabers through the fog. That first, before we really even saw her.
I love that. You know, I was actually having a hard time deciding, like, what one section of I'm just like, so I just kind of have the whole episode,
all of it,
as a favorite moment, honestly. But yes, in particular, that the whole choreography and the camera work and the framing of the stealth sabering in the mist.
Yeah, but just like watching those two beams of light just manifest in the fog. You know, it's like I have nightmares about zombies appearing in the fog, but if I saw like the two lightsabers in the fog, like I would joygasm in my pants.
What were you gonna say, Lexi?
Oh, that was just same. I mean, not specifically with like the zombies and the joygasming, although like I agree, I can't argue.
Fair enough.
Oh my gosh, my friend Rob has not watched Mandalorian yet, so he came on and was like, bye.
Sure.
Come back in a few minutes, Rob.
We're all in lockdown.
I know. Anyway, it's the subscription thing. He doesn't want to get Disney Plus. I can't blame him. All right. I think it's still my turn, right? Okay.
It's still your turn.
Okay.
But we're going to popcorn off of you if you say stuff that we like.
Oh, heck yeah. I would expect nothing less. Okay. And then my next one is I have a deep love of the haka, and every time I see it performed, I just like start crying the ugly cry. And so watching Tamura Morrison come on and watching his fighting style be, you know, it's like taking on the that New Zealand Maori fighting style and kind of bringing in that kind of haka feel to it. And even watching the backstage behind the scenes footage of him, you know, doing some of the haka stuff just it brings back all those feelings of just, you know, wanting to see it in person someday. And so that was one of my favorite moments, was watching him with the fighting and the modified Sand People. The
Tuscan toothpick that we now discover, that's what it's actually for, right?
The Tuscan toothpick. Oh wait, why did I say Sand People? Tuscan, whatever.
You know, the other thing I'm gonna expand upon that actually, the way the composer, whose name is eluding me right now, kind of influenced the whole aesthetic of Boba Fett with a little bit of indigenous Maori rhythms in his themes, and it's still kind of based on the original Boba Fett theme from John Williams, but it's expanded in instrumentation and some of the tribal rhythms in the percussion. I think that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
The Boba Fett, Return of Boba Fett, and that whole combat scene, that was, I couldn't decide. It was tied with that or Bo-Katan and being reintroduced and her squad. I could not decide with.
Yeah.
I also appreciate shards of PVC flying.
We lost her.
Oh no!
Shards of PVC flying. Did that happen in the episode?
Yeah, no. That was part of that staging. Is every time he hit a stormtrooper, you just see like shattering.
Oh
PVC flying.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying,
Crappy
Lexi?
armor.
Looks like you're back now.
That's what you thought.
Oh, I actually said everything that I was going to say. I'm trying to keep it real short because I know I'm eventually.
Oh, there she goes again. Okay, before I get to my last two moments, should we talk about how Benja has left us, but we love him. and hopefully he'll be back as a guest from time to time. But apparently Lexi has taken on his technical glitches, so yeah. We'll work that out for next time, Lexi. Oh, superstar. Oh.
Yeah, Benja, who started the show with us. Yeah, I mean, he's become very busy as he's been developing a number of shows of his own. So if you're interested in seeing what he's got going on, check out Mr. Benja on all of his social medias. He also has a new show that he's starting himself that's called Show versus Business, which is kind of that intersection of art and commerce, which is a discussion I always love kind of getting into with him. So there will definitely be more of that. So
Paul's suggesting we get you a pencil and paper, Lexi.
So she can hold up the sign, a little whiteboard.
Oh, yes, give me a whiteboard. Get me a whiteboard.
Sometimes the simplest answers are the best answers. So I'm going to add in some of my favorite moments here.
Wait, what about my last two?
Oh, okay. I didn't know you had two more. So keep going.
Okay. My next one is, I know not everybody is a fan of Miggs Mayfeld, but I am. And in The Believer, when he kind of rediscovered his conscience, that was just that whole moment was to me very, very touching, and that nobody's beyond hope. And I think that's an important lesson for all of us to remember just in day-to-day life. And then my last one.
Actually, Lexi, did you want to chime in on that? I know that was a moment you were calling out too.
Oh, yeah, was it?
That
Oh, God.
that episode. Oh no, I'm gone again. Okay.
See, the brilliant thing is that every time you come back is when you realize that you're out. So it's kind of like, I'm gone again. Oh, technology.
No.
Well, at least you look really cute in all your freezes.
Okay, you're back. Talk now.
I love that he found a totally chaotic good way to keep Mando's secret. That was a really great character arc for my money. Like, it made sense for him. It wasn't just he finds a way to, I mean, but none of the heroes in this are squeaky clean. They're all kind of anti-heroes, which is reasons that the show is so good.
Okay. So I'll go on to my last one since Lexi froze again. My last one, actually, I think, is kind of the big kahuna. Oh.
Can I chime in on that moment too? About Miggs?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I mean, kind of repeating what you guys are saying in terms of how touching that was. I also just love like that moment of tragedy where you can just kind of see the how emotionally taxing this war has been on its combatants in this galaxy, right? Mm-hmm. And he calls out specifically Operation Cinder, which is a total deep dive from novels that I haven't read personally, but like I know about this
in video games.
In video games that has become kind of a formational moment in the fall of the Empire, or rather the rebirth of the remnants, right? It
was mentioned in at least one of the novels that I have been reading.
Yeah, I think it was like the Aftermath series where they went into that. So the fact that they're kind of still bringing in all of this lore, piecing it together, and it does still serve as kind of what you're talking about, Tracy, of this kind of allegorical. This is kind of what I love about science fiction and fantasy and speculative fiction, is the way you can talk about real world things like his PTSD and his being radicalized by this, evil empire, and having remorse or fear or pain over, all the lives that were lost, for causes that he, ultimately fell out of alignment with.
Yep. I agree. And, finding a purpose again, I think is an important theme as well. Okay. And then my last one is, I think, kind of the penultimate moment of the season. And that is, of course, the appearance of Luke Skywalker and in particular, his battle against
some
the
guy.
Darksaber. Yeah.
Some dude.
that hallway battle. And I think that the slow, I think we all kind of figure out who it was pretty quickly, but the slow hints leading up to it, the glimpse of the glove, the color of the lightsaber, the, certain moves. I think the way that they did that was just really, really beautiful. I know a lot of people weren't super into the deep fake overlay of his face, but that didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, I think we were all on board for the moment.
You guys, what do you think? I know some people didn't like it, and I'm like,
yeah, I think most of us were kind of on board with the moment. We knew what the intention is, and we were, either you're able to kind of fill in those gaps for the technology that is not quite there yet, or not. But I was.
Yeah, I didn't love it, but I was like, okay, it works. I get it. It works. It didn't pull me out of the moment so bad that I was like, well, this just ruins the whole story. Mark Hamill doesn't look like that anymore. No, I was in it. I was crying. It was great.
So how about you, Lexi? What are some of your favorite moments that we haven't covered yet?
My favorite scene with the Boss Babe squad that did the rescue. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear because I wanted to use another B word, but
Rodney's
you're allowed
thumbs
to
up. You're allowed to swear.
The Boss Bitch squad. The Boss Bitch squad. I would go ahead and I just that made me watching Fennec Shan back up of Bo-Katan, and I'm so sorry I'm Banff, but anyway, yeah, that the 4-woman death squad to go in and get the baby was just, or to go up to take the ship.
Yeah,
I do love a amazing boss bitch squad. I know a lot of people in Avengers Endgame. We're like, they're just pandering, and I'm like, I don't care.
And I liked that Avengers scene, and I thought this one was better done because it wasn't as obvious. They did a better job of showing, not telling. They did a better job of showing, not telling. It literally took my breath away. I was like, ooh, it's wait. And I went back and rewound it. I was doing a Netflix party watch, and I was like, I'm sorry, or not the Netflix party. I was doing the party watch on Disney. And I was like, I'm hijacking it, guys. I'm sorry. And I made it go back and rewatch it. I was like, I don't care. We're rewatching that.
I want to bounce off of that and extend that to both that scene as well as the first Night Owls scene where you get to see Bo-Katan and Cusker Reeves and the other dude. Whose name I don't remember.
Axe Wolves.
There we go. We have another wolf. Thank you, Dave Filoni. But getting to see the contrast of Bo-Katan as a leader and a strategist who, they are all in sync. They know when they're alternating, when they're covering for one another, in comparison to, Din Djarin, who is just a lone warrior who's kind of a bull in a china shop. They're giving each other hand signals and whatever, and he's like, give me all the bombs, I'm gonna run into the crate dragon and blow it up from the inside, right?
Yeah, his special talent is the Hail Mary.
Yeah.
That's just
anything else, Lexi? that we've missed?
We covered all of them, actually. I love that everybody kind of just went the whole episode with Ahsoka, just the whole one.
Yeah.
Couldn't pick a moment, whole one. I was like, yes, same.
Well, I mean,
but I was freezing up really bad at that moment, so I couldn't jump in.
Yeah, I mean, it was so good in terms of like channeling classic westerns and channeling classic samurai films, and seeing, you know, I've been saying the spiritual team up of Yojimbo and the Man with No Name, right? You know, also of course with Michael Biehn there and him referencing himself in Tombstone, where, you know, with that whole standoff. Of course, you know, we have Diana Leo Santo, who's like, you know, kung fu royalty in the martial arts circles, playing a, you know, potentially a former Night Sister, which they haven't confirmed, but more lore that's kind of coming to fruition. That episode was just so great, and just honestly, you know, Dave Filoni is kind of like the one of us guy,
and so is Jon Favreau, actually.
I mean, but Dave Filoni in another special way, because he's been tied to this for, you know, he did all of Clone Wars. You know, the story behind how he came to Clone Wars was he was working on Avatar: The Last Airbender.
He thought it was a joke when they.
He thought it was a joke. He thought that people were messing with him when he's like, and then he's in the office with George Lucas, his hero. So I love that his hero became his mentor, and now he's, you know, the apprentice has become the master, so to speak. But I'm going to call out one of my favorite moments is Grogu's vicious fight with the Chowder. Is one of my favorite moments.
With the little face hugger?
Yes, the little octopus that comes out and he's just like, ah!
Don't play with your food.
Yes, it was so good. It was just a great moment of puppetry, of just bringing this puppet to life, and, you know, optimizing all of this expression as a little thing.
Anytime Grogu has food involved with him.
Hashtag Grogu eating. I'm also going to call out just the whole thing with the Krayt Dragon and the Tuskens. Actually, the whole relationship with the Tuskens, and how they're using Din to kind of expand on the Tusken Raiders as a colonized people, really, right? And as you know, protectors of an indigenous land, and bringing that theme into Star Wars, I think is fascinating to kind of expand.
Like, quote unquote, humanizing what would just be a villain without really any distinguishing properties, right?
Right.
Like making them into a full-fledged culture all into their own.
And of course, more social allegory.
Instead of just using them as like a two-dimensional plot point, which they have been in the past, it's nice to really see them treated like any of the other civs on Star Wars in the galaxy.
So, all in all, your each of your takeaways from this season.
I think that it was a really, really great like payoff for the very traditional Star Wars family and father-son conflict journey relationship, and they managed to do while staying true to what was done.
Ruh-roh.
Genres and using the new tech title to.
Oh, what is going on? We just said a slowly, like almost like stop motion. So like oh, Lexi, I'm sorry. That's frustrating. Oh,
she's got the magic hand thingy.
That's bordering on live long and prosper right there.
That's a different space franchise. How about you, Tracy?
Sorry.
Oh.
Oh. Okay, well, I'll start then. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think just kind of going back to Dave Filoni a little bit, I think that the magic of Dave Filoni is that he manages to bring the two worlds together. He manages to bridge the George Lucas with the Kathleen Kennedy, which nobody has been able to do quite like him. I feel like they've been a little at odds with each other, and he's like the unifying factor there that can, make
Like
the
the
step
Force.
parents get along. Right. Yeah. And for him to be just a really nice person as well, and really care about the fans and bring in these little details that he knows that the fans are going to love. I think that it's just, he's just magic. And I am so grateful for him, because I know we've got, Kevin Feige's kind of that for the Marvel universe, and we really don't have that for the DC universe. So, just
one.
bless Dave Filoni. And then, yeah, they need one. They do. And then I think, in a way, and Andy, you actually sparked this thought when you were talking about how they're addressing things like PTSD in a way that I think Star Wars hasn't in the past. And I think that's always something that Gene Roddenberry was able to do really well with Star Trek. And I think that they're taking that kind of that feeling and that way of doing that and bringing it into Star Wars a little bit, which I think for any science fiction franchise is very important, because anytime that you're going to be able to address social issues in a way that will maybe influence people who wouldn't otherwise come to those realizations and need a little nudge to come to those realizations, I think is very important. And so Star Wars, as much as I'm a Trekkie, Star Wars has a broader footprint than Star Trek does. So it has been very lacking and very needed in the Star Wars universe to reach more people, and just sort of like plant those little eggs in their noggins that, like these are issues we need to talk about and deal with. And so nothing can do that quite like science fiction can, because it adds an element of not being it makes it fantasy, right?
You can talk about issues in a less personal way, which allows you more freedom to see it from this is the thing, like, people forget that Lord of the Rings was born out of
World War One.
Out of his PTSD and struggling to deal with what he faced in World War One in the trenches, right? What Tolkien faced, right? I love seeing this and that kind of deeper storytelling,
and the diversity on the screen as well, which was not available in past parts of Star Wars. That Star Trek was miles ahead of it in that way, and so. As much as there are certain people that will fight it, they're still going to watch it, and they'll get used to it, and we can move forward.
I'm just always saying, I was like pointing out that, there have been more white people playing aliens than there have been people of color playing people of color in most of media history. So I'm all for it.
Or white people playing minorities.
Yeah, well, that's. So we've. Oh, go ahead, Lexi.
That can of worms. Just that can of worms.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to do an episode about that. That would be a really good episode, I think. I don't know, guys. Tell us in the quotes, or not the quotes, the chat. Tell us if you want to see an episode about that kind of stuff.
So the other thing, I'll say the exciting thing about the show. So I know that as we were going through the season, there are a lot of fans that were kind of not necessarily concerned or frustrated, but questioning whether or not all of these character cameos were too much, or if it was being too overt in setting up kind of soft pilots for other shows. I didn't have a problem with it personally, and honestly, I felt like every character paid off in some way or enough towards the main story thread. And yes, there are hanging threads that are leading off into all the other shows: the Ahsoka show, the Rangers of the New Republic, oh gosh, what's the other one? Ahsoka, Rangers of the New Republic, and there's another one that's in this. Isn't there? Maybe I've got it wrong. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of see how these spin-offs play out and what this unified movement of interconnected shows ends up being.
Oh, that reminds me. Ring Capacity had a question about whether or not Rex will be on the Obi-Wan show.
Nothing is confirmed. I'll say this, and I've heard a rumor that Rex will not be in the show, but Captain Cody might. But again, that is all rumor, so I do not know. I am certainly not an authority. I have no sources. That is just purely a rumor that I've been seeing the internet's talking about.
He says boo.
I mean, I think Rex is still fair game, right? And not in Obi-Wan. I think if Rex is going to show up, he's going to show up with Ahsoka because they've really developed that bond, right? It's Cody. It's Cody awesome. It's Cody who went from being Obi-Wan's number one to hunting him, right? I mean, that's an interesting story right there.
He is saying Obi spent more time with Cody. He just loves Rex more. So it's wishful thinking on Ring Capacity's part.
Book of Boba Fett. That was the other one that I was missing.
And do we know yet if that's going to be a series or just like a 1 or 2 parter?
It is implied it is a mini series. So I'm going to guess it's like a 2 or 3 episode thing. So
just kind of a sidebar, fun story.
Yeah.
A little arc.
Yeah. So anything else as we kind of wrap up on the Mandalorian, or like what we hope we see for next season? That's a good question. What do you hope to see next season? Lexi, let's start with you this time.
Next season, I really hope that we get to, I know. I really hope that we get to see Grogu again. I know that arc is like mostly done, but they spent a lot of money on that puppet. And it would be really great to get some kind of check-in, but that's mostly like my fan service thing that I would want. I really want to see. I want to see what happened to the rest of the enclave that he was part of.
Yeah,
I want to do it. Yeah, the blacksmith. I really want to know the blacksmith.
The armorer.
The
right?
armorer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what the relationship with the armorer is now that he is not true to the creed anymore.
Yeah, and then as far as Mando's concerned, it's kind of unclear that he the creed for the sake of Grogu, who he no longer has as his. After having, oh no, am I gone again?
We're still got you. Keep going.
After having his conversation with Mayfeld. After having his conversation with Mayfeld, asking what his new direction is going to be, it'll be interesting to see what he decides, where he decides to take what he has learned and decided for himself, and what his new way is.
Yeah.
Well, didn't he make a promise?
Himself.
Didn't he make a promise to Bo-Katan that he would help her with the?
He made a promise to her, but just because he makes a promise to her in a mission doesn't mean that her way is his way.
Right.
You know?
Well, it's interesting because his commitment to her was that he would help her reunite the Mandalorian people. But now that he is the holder of the Darksaber, it has fallen to him to be the new Mandalore. which he doesn't want and she doesn't want either.
Awkward.
Yeah. So I'm very excited to see how that plays out and what they do, and also jumping deeper into the Mandalorian culture too.
Because Bo-Katan does introduce the concept of like, well, not everybody has the same way, You see her way, you see the armorer, and then you have Boba Fett, who is not Mandalorian, but has Mandalorian heritage,
Yeah.
And claims the Mandalorian heritage. And I think it'll be very interesting, like I said, to see how in his commitment to Bo-Katan, in his new stewardship of the Darksaber, and his, even though it's not obligation, but his emotional ties to Grogu, how he has that all factor into what he defines as his way. I think that's what we're going to see a lot of, personally for his arc.
How about you, Tracy? Any last thoughts about Mandalorian season 3?
Well, this has been, I've had hardly any thoughts about the Mandalorian for 6 weeks now. So it's all been rushing back to me over the course of this episode. But I think that they're going to have to bring back Grogu because he's just so popular. But in a way, I hope that they do wait a whole season, because I think then we'll appreciate it more, and it's not just pandering to fans, right? Baby Yoda fans. But I think what will be really interesting about the whole Mandalorian, I think it is going to be very Mandalorian heavy, as far as seeing Mandalore itself and more people who are from that culture. And I think if you look at the world's religions, right? You look at Christianity, you look at Judaism, you look at Islam, Hinduism. There's so many different facets. You have everything from Greek Orthodox Catholicism to LDS. You have everything from Orthodox Judaism to Jews for Jesus. It's like there's so many facets to any religion. And I think exploring some of what makes Mandalorians and their belief systems vary between different parts of the people from the different areas of Mandalore will be a really interesting subject to explore, maybe throughout the entire season. So I'm looking forward to learning more about them. I think it's been a culture that has not been explored enough. It's always been very mysterious. So to kind of deep dive into that aspect of Mandalorian culture, I think would be extremely interesting. And I think that they can do it in a way that is not preachy and is not dragging. I think they can make it exciting.
In that vein of thought, it would be really nice to have them dive into, or at least have Mandalorian art come more into play, because you get to see a bit of it with Sabine in Rebels, and then it's never really brought up again. But I hope that it is.
Yeah,
it would be great to see Sabine in the next season.
Yeah, I mean,
yes, please.
I mean, I feel
I'll have to go back to purple from pink.
She's either going to show up in Mandalorian, or she's going to show up in Ahsoka, or maybe she'll jump between both. But I mean, we know that she does have a connection to Ahsoka. But
put her in everything.
Put her in everything. Yeah. Yeah. I one of my wish. So my wish list of like, if I had my druthers, I would love for Bo-Katan to begrudgingly accept that he is the Mandalore. And that would not be a permanent thing, right? It would be, the dynamic is watching Bo-Katan become his mentor and teach him how to become part of a larger society as opposed to being a loner. And through that process of her teaching him, learning more about being a Mandalorian and being part of this larger Mandalorian society, that's like such an interesting dynamic to me, or a potential dynamic. And of course, in the end, somehow, some rigmarole where she is able to take the saber back and is able to take the leadership role that she's destined. Or
it won't change allegiance in just like a super intense training scenario, right? Like it has to be like a genuine fight.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, Well, that's the thing. Like, he could still lose it to someone else that she can defeat later, right?
But if he's like losing it on purpose so that she can defeat them, would that count?
It does not count because it is not an honorable win.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that people would recognize that.
Yeah. I just keep thinking about it like the Elder Wand, but I think in their case, it's not the Darksaber itself that has the allegiance, it's the people giving it that power, right?
Yeah, right. That was the whole the line that Moff Gideon.
Yeah, I don't think
I love the Moff Gideon line where he says, the saber doesn't have power, it's the story that has the power.
Right.
But we should really wrap this up and move on to the next thing. We did get a late start, so so we will probably run a little bit longer than we normally would, just to make sure we get to everything. But probably time to get into our next topic, which is the big exciting thing in Star Wars right now, because right now we're in a little bit of a drought because we don't have new episodes of Mandalorian. We do not have a release date for the beginning of The Bad Batch yet, or Star Wars Visions. That's the new Japanese anime series coming to Disney Plus. But we do have a rollout of a bunch of new stuff in the books and comics realm. And that is
okay. Are you going to give any spoilers before we continue? Are you going to give any spoilers of it?
We are not going to give any spoilers. Anything that we're going to talk about right now is going to be what has already out on press releases about books, but we'll not get into any story details.
I just want to make sure of that because there was people in the chat who were like, "No, I haven't read it."
So what we'll do here is we're just going to get into very basics of why is. Well, let's do this. You ready for this, Lexi?
Yes, I'm so ready. Okay, so
Army sabotage. Okay, so tell us.
I'm ready.
So what?
Okay,
what is?
So I think it's
Republic?
one of the most fascinating things. So, what is High Republic? High Republic is the time period before the original trilogies.
It's
the.
Do you know how long before episode 1?
I am so terrible with math. I looked it up and I don't remember what the dates were. Like, no one asks someone else.
Right.
Has got to get the dates. I don't know those.
I think roughly they're saying about 1,000
I have
years.
low knowledge. What he said.
Oh, brain capacity is saying 200 years.
Oh, 200 years? Before?
That's what ring capacity is saying.
Okay, maybe 1,000 years is Old Republic. Well, anyways.
That sounds right. I will say that sounds right.
So tell us who the good guys are, our heroes in the era of the High Republic.
So we still do have mention of Master Yoda, although we have not seen him yet. One of the main characters that is introduced in the first book is Joramali, Master Joramali, who is one of the former Jedi Council and then took on a new assignment, voluntarily left the Jedi Council. She features heavily in both the first and second book. There's Jedi Master Avar Kriss. She has a kind of battle meditation. One of my favorite things about the Charles Soule book is how it goes really into each Jedi's personal relationship with the Force, how they see the Force and how they relate to it. So it's really, really fun to see in depth. You know, for some it's like music, for another it's like water, like the ocean.
That is actually a really cool thing, right? So we get to meet a lot of different new Jedi of this Jedi Order in this era that we haven't seen yet, but it is interesting, right? There's not one way anyone uses the Force. There's a lot of different ways that people use the Force.
Ooh, I like that.
We also get some cool ships. So do you want to talk about?
Wait, isn't there a Wookiee Jedi?
There is a Wookiee Jedi.
That makes me happy.
There is a Wookiee Jedi.
He's a Padawan, right?
He's still a Padawan.
Yeah.
He's still a Padawan. Yeah, he's a Padawan, but he's a major character, plays a really big role.
Pedo Wookiee.
And then it's really interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how all of the ripple effects of this play out and end up setting the stage for the original trilogy that everybody knows and is familiar with.
Yeah. So like this novel ultimately revolves around an event, and I won't say what that event is. We'll let you get to that in the book. But how this event affects the state of the galaxy at this time. Do you want to talk about our villains a little bit?
The villains. Let's see.
In a loose structure way, so we don't give up too much. But
it's hard to say a lot about them without giving spoilers, which is why I'm pausing here.
You're pausing in thought instead of freezing.
Well, okay, we
progress.
Yeah.
We can say who they are, right? So
we basically have a group of space pirates called the Nile, and they are headed by a very shady figure who has ties to a deeper power than the pirates are kind of aware of. That could have some real far-reaching.
Yeah, actually, it should be said. It should be said that this is early enough in the development of the Republic that the Outer Rim is still very much unknown. So this is actually another really interesting thing, is that there's a lot of themes of exploration, right? There are, like, a lot of the planets in the Outer Rim are still, that we are familiar with, are still unknown, right? So how the early spacefarers are discovering worlds and discovering cultures is an underlying theme. Is that fair to say, Lexi?
And it's very interesting because even in even in the book that I read, they are mentioning Jedi temples and locations that get featured in the
I think she's saying in the animated series.
And it's nice to see those mentioned, and you're seeing them when they're active too.
Yeah,
that you get introduced to is, I think, mentioned in other work. Yeah.
So with you,
there's and I just started reading today.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just started reading the second book today, and there's a lot of things that they're talking about with, like, the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, and really just interesting concepts. Jedi, let's see, what is it? A Jedi waste seeker, a Jedi who operates independently of the dictates of the Jedi Council, which is a concept I haven't really been heard of before. I haven't heard of it before. I don't know if it's something they created for High Republic, and a concept that was lost later on. But it'll be interesting to bring that in.
Yeah.
Bring Capacity is asking, do we know when the Acolyte is going to be set, or High Republic?
So those
are the TV shows, right?
The Acolyte is the TV show. So the Acolyte is supposed to be towards the end of the High Republic era. That is all we know.
Oh, he was asking if it is going to be in the High Republic. That was not two different questions. Sometimes it's hard to figure it out on chat. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Is it going to be in the High Republic time? And you're saying towards the end.
So Lexi, towards the end of the High Republic era. Okay. So Lexi, why should someone get into all this, right? We've got all of these books coming out over the next few years. We've got comic series that are coming out. Why is this a great time to get into Star Wars novels?
Okay, so I think that with all of the new series that they just dropped, it's kind of inevitable that the next set of series is probably going to feature High Republic content. So if you start reading High Republic books now, you're most likely going to get a drop on the next set of Star Wars media that comes out, whether that's graphic novels, releases on Disney Plus, or elements that they add in theme parks. So that's kind of fun. You'll get to have kind of an insight on the lore for that. Also, speaking of the lore, it really deepens this whole series. I have a feeling is going to really deepen for the people who are into the lore or who are into the specific history of Star Wars. This is really going to fill in a lot of gaps, answer a lot of questions, and it's going to help us see how the galaxy in Star Wars, as we were first introduced, came to be.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree.
It's always fun to have insider knowledge and to know the Easter eggs, right?
At first, and that's kind of all.
Yeah. I will also chime in, I mean, the really exciting thing is like, this is a very much an untouched period of time. And also putting this so early in kind of the origin story of the Republic that we know. They are completely clear from bumping in on any other canon. So meeting new characters, coming up with new things, new bits. There is something about reading Light of the Jedi that reminds me of kind of that early EU period, where through the stories. But really quickly, we'll kind of run down. So the two adult novels that are, one is already out and one is coming out very soon. Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule, which is currently out, and we will be asking you to read along with us on that one. So we are going to cover the first 20 chapters 2 weeks from now. So if you would like to read along, you have 2 weeks to read the first 20 chapters. What is about 300 pages? Is that about right, Lexi?
Yeah, total. It's definitely. Let's see how many pages is it? I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, but totally doable within 2 weeks. Also, if you're lazy and you have Audible, there is actually a great. Actually, I've been doing it as books on tape or books on whatever, audiobooks, whatever it's called now. And the performer who is doing the book on the performance of the book is phenomenal. He is doing all of these 377 pages for the book. So half the book is maybe, about 200 pages. That's
and according
totally
to Kindle, it takes people about 7 hours to read the whole thing. So
there you go. The next adult novel that's coming out is The Rising Storm by Scott. The Rising Storm?
No, sorry, not The Rising Storm.
So that's the next adult novel that's coming out, I believe, in the summer by Scott Cavan. There are 2 young adult novels that are out right now. They're a little shorter. A Test of Courage by Justina Ireland and Into the Dark by Claudia Gray, which is the book that Lexi is starting right now. Claudia Gray is heavily beloved by many Star Wars readers right now. There's also a 25-page children's book if you have younger readers out there or kids. This is The Great Jedi Rescue by Cavan Scott, and I believe this is an adaptation of one of the chapters from The Light of the Jedi. Also, there is the ongoing comic series, one from Marvel and one from IDW. You have The High Republic by Cavan Scott, and The High Republic Adventures from IDW by Daniel Jose Older. And there's a bunch of other stuff coming. There's a manga coming out. There's more stuff from this whole stable of writers. It should all be exciting and fun stuff to get into. And please read along with us.
Is Into the Dark pretty good so far? Ring Capacity wants to know if it's worth picking up since it's aimed towards teens.
I'm only about 2 chapters into it. It's geared towards teens. I picked it up on Kindle, and I would totally recommend picking it up digitally, or if you have like a library app and it's on there. It's worth a read if you're interested in Light of the Jedi, because it deals with some of the same character or some of the characters that are associated with the characters that get introduced into that. And it deals with the same inciting incident, the same big galaxy-wide kind of incident that brings everybody together. Or, not really necessarily brings everybody together, but affects the whole galaxy at once. And it gives you another perspective on that. It connects a lot of dots and kind of gives you a bigger picture of what's happening in the Jedi Order at its peak, which is another great reason to pick up all the new High Republic stuff. You get to learn a lot about Jedi lore that was lost after Order 66 because it's in its peak. Really fantastic.
Tracy, now's the time when we check the chat. Do we have anything else from our chat today?
We've got new followers. We've got
cool.
Yeah, we've got Bud Baxter. We've got I know that Paul followed this, Rob followed. We've got Digital Click, which is doing some of our stuff, right?
Thank you, Digital Click. Yes, our partners with the Geekish network.
That's awesome. And let's see. I feel like we had other people, but thank you everybody who has joined us today. Really appreciate it. Sorry, I'm scrolling back to see who else. If you're new, let me know. But we
Sound off on
really
the chat.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
So really quick things, guys. We're just about at the end of the show, but once again, we're going to invite you to kind of follow along with us. Like we said, we're doing the first 20 chapters of Light of the Jedi, the new High Republic book. But also, next week, we're going to do a little bit of rewatch. We're going to go back into the history of one of our favorite characters, Ahsoka Tano. So we plan to watch Clone Wars episode 205. Now, this is the perfect opportunity where you're like, God, I keep hearing all this great stuff about the Clone Wars animated series, but I don't want to watch the whole thing or it's all intimidating. So we're going to highlight some of our favorite episodes and our favorite story arcs that particularly right now focus on important points in the history of the character of Ahsoka Tano. So the first one we're going to do here is the Second Battle of Geonosis, which is a really fantastic story arc in the second season. That's episode 205 through 208. So if you have a Disney Plus or if you have access to episodes of Clone Wars, make sure you watch those episodes before our next episode next week on Saturday the 13th. Once again, we've already said it a few times. Follow along with us on the High Republic. And also, if you are an artist, if you're a cosplayer, if you make fan films, build droids, build models, sell stuff on Etsy, tell us. We want to know who you are and what you're doing and how you were inspired by all of these stories and all this mythology that Star Wars has given to all of us. How about you, Tracy? Anything else we need to cover before we head towards the end of the show?
Nope. I don't think so. We lost Lexi.
We lost Lexi.
I can do her farewell. We lost her.
Before we get into
I know that Lexi is changing up her social media stuff. So she's going to let us all know what that is, hopefully by next week. So yeah. But she's a performance artist and an all-around wonderful geek.
Yes. How about you, Tracy? Where can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Hot Nerd Girl, on Instagram at Hot Nerd Girl Official, on Twitter at hot_girl_nerd. And my whole website accidentally disappeared. There was a misunderstanding with the person who was hosting it, and they deleted it. So it is in the process of being rebuilt. Okay. Yeah, they did not back it up before they actually switched
much like the Death Star. It must be rebuilt.
Yes, they switched servers and forgot that I was on there and did not back up anything. So I am working with somebody to build that back up, and probably it's going to be the old website for the next year while we kind of get back to normal because of the pandemic and everything. And then next year, I'll probably have a brand new site. So the Hot Nerd Girl website, which has been kind of on pause for over a year now, will be brand new and shining and active again. So I'm very excited about that.
Excellent. And of course, I am Andy Lowe. I am the Chinese Pirate. You can find me at Chinese Pirate _ on all platforms. I'm also the Chinese Pirate on Facebook. And you can also find me on the main Pangeekery show, which is on Monday nights at 8 o'clock. This coming Monday, we will be talking about His Dark Materials Season 2. We're going to react to the first 4 episodes. Also, the video game Cyberpunk 2077. And I'm sure all of you are thinking about WandaVision Episode 5 right now, because I know I am. So we're going to talk about WandaVision as well. So come back to Geekish Network right here on Twitch this coming Monday at 8 o'clock. We'll be talking about all that stuff. I was hoping Lexi would show up again by this point. But Lexi is the Feral
Well, she's
Geek.
going to have all new socials next week, so it's okay.
Please check out all of our other content on podsquadron.com. Like and subscribe. And here she is. Oh, she's almost here. I'm going to keep going until she's full on back. Like and subscribe on Twitch and YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for all of our podcast subscriptions. You can subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. And Lexi, are you almost?
Yeah, I'm here.
back? Yay!
I'm trying not to overload my internet. We'll just do this audio. I'll say bye to you guys. Bye.
Can you want to tell people where they can find you?
Oh, yes. Right now, we can find me still on Kaleidoscope Creature at Instagram, but I'm going to be having some social media changes coming up pretty soon, and I'll touch on those next week, hopefully.
Excellent.
Oh, and then my website is theferalgeek.com.
Great. So once again, we are Pod Squadron. Come back and see us. We are here on Geekish Network, 8 o'clock every Saturday. You know all the things. Join us on this journey.
Oh, we're going to raid somebody. Who are we going to raid?
We're going to raid someone soon. We're going to raid Jen Zaney. Jenzany. That's one of my co-hosts on Pangeekery. So good night, everyone. Have a fun time and say hi to Jen Zaney. And remember, the truths we cling to. Oh, wait, I got to do Obi-Wan voice. The truths we cling to depend on our own point of view. Only the Sith deal in absolutes. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
We're still. Hi, Jen Zaney. Jen Zaney. Okay.